Hey, what up, guys? I hope you all are having a great time in Scourge. I know that I've been having a really great time in Scourge working on my Hollow Palm Ground Slam build. He is a dually boy, and I love him. Now, you can either go with Champion, which is definitely a better league starter. It's like more damage right off the bat. However, at the end game, he does about 1,000,000 less damage than the Slayer, and the Slayer is my personal favorite. You start off with Brutal Fervor, and you take that whole right side of the crab arm up into Endless Hunger. And then you would take the Bane of Legends on the other side of the crab arm. And the reason I wanted to get into Ascends is because the last one is really up to you. Now, you can go with my personal favorite, which is Impact. Gives you huge, massive Vol ground slams. I mean, just your ground slams overall are pretty massive, but the Vol ground slam will hit the whole screen. And then there's the other one, which is Masterful Form. This is the much safer option. And honestly, if you don't have Impact, like your Vol ground slam is still really big, but like, you know. So, one with nothing. It is a cluster jewel, a small cluster jewel, which basically means you're a monk. If you haven't seen it, you have no weapons. You cannot wear gloves. But for this trade-off, you count as dual wield, so every dual wield node is available to you. You also stack dexterity, so you really feel the power with every point you put in. Like, you feel the damage upgrade, so it's really satisfying that way. You have 40% more attack speed with melee skills, and like because of that, you attack insanely fast, and it's like really, really, really fun. So you need that jewel to make this entire build work. Without it, you can't do anything. Now, you can make yourself another chest piece that may have some more life and some armor or evasion, etc. But Wildwrap is the best bang for your buck, hands down. 6 links are cheap. They're a brisk wrap that's been upgraded through prophecy called Last of the Wildmen. Downside to this is trying to get 5 red sockets and 1 green. The way that I normally get it is with the jeweler recipe, and it costs me anywhere from like 700 to... I've spent 700 to 1,700 jewelers trying to get 5 reds and 1 green. You can also go with trying to get 4 reds and then doing non-red to red in Harvest. That could also work for you. You can Verici it. There's plenty of ways to get it, but that's like, I would say, the only barrier to getting yourself a Wildwrap on and vibing out with it. The next great thing is Ascendancy. So Ascendancy, you can get yourself like 119 plus the 6. You can get yourself a boatload of attributes, basically, especially with intrinsic. And you can wear this all the way up to endgame just fine. Garakin's Flight is the next item up, and these are some boots. They are, again, best in slot boots. I don't think you can get better, because not only do they have a ton of evasion, which again is converted to armor, it also gives you 30 to 40% dexterity, or not percent, flat dexterity, and you get +2 life per 10 dexterity. And if that's not enough, they also make you immune to shocked, burning, and chilled ground. So all those map mods that suck, like, goodbye. You know, they're gone. They're done. No worries. The next thing I would think is pretty important is working on the rings. Now, I currently have a vulnerability unset ring, but you generally just need a vulnerability ring and preferably 1 unset ring, so that you can throw in dash. Like, it just feels comfier. Since this is a build where you don't get any weapons, you don't get any gloves, you're really socket starved. So anywhere you can try to like fit another socket to get yourself something. Like in my case, I only recently, and by recently I mean yesterday, got on a 2nd unset ring so I can put in a totem. And I just wanted it to have really high dexterity, good life, and that's it. Like that's all I was, and some res. That's like all I was looking for on this ring. A pretty simple ask, and it wasn't that bad. You can really rock though if you don't, want to go for that, because they can be a little expensive unset rings. You can always just go for a two stone, or something to this effect. When it comes to the belts, most people for these attribute stacking builds will go for a Cyclopean coil early, because you can get 18% attributes rolled on it. But for me, I personally went with some basic life Stygian belts, and then later on I got a Hunter Stygian, and I've been trying to throw down dexterity essences to see if I can actually hit flat dexterity and attributes. That is the holy grail of belts. It's been a bit of a rough time trying to roll it. Brutal restraint. Now, I get a lot of questions about brutal restraint. No, the number doesn't matter. The general doesn't matter. These things, in this case, don't really mean anything for us. What we're really looking for is 2 5% dexterity nodes on notables. Like that's all we're looking for. And if you can also go with like 1 5% and a 20 flat, because that exists on there as well. Fluid motion, it's a very basic jewel. They're not overly expensive, and it's a pretty good corrupt target where you can get something like cannot be hindered, or whatever you can get reservation efficiency, which is going to be kind of nice because the build has it's a little toy, it's a little toy. This build, I also use a split personality, and that it's like a nice end game item. It gives me 33 dexterity, 33 life. So it's good for like when you're in your 90s and so on, you're trying to just push it a little more. It wasn't overly expensive, but it's definitely something that you can consider. Now, the Watcher's Eye, that one does matter. The Watcher's Eye was probably one of the most expensive items in this entire build, and it's because it goes for the 2 additional Impale Pride. So I ended up paying 8 Exalt for it in the Scourge League. I would strongly recommend this build as a league start. It's insanely fun. It's not very expensive. You have a lot of room where you can go for upgrades, and in the meantime have a great fun time leveling in maps and doing progressing. I hope you guys enjoyed this build guide. Definitely, if you watched it all the way through here and you're still listening, hit that subscribe button. It's totally free. And give me your critiques, give me your comments. If you have any suggestions about the builds, I always appreciate that kind of stuff. And I hope to see you guys in my Twitch stream on twitch.tv/Velyna. Have a great day, guys.